these teams just came off, but G2 just slaughtered PSG in 3. So T1 probably the clear favorites, am I right?
Well, G2 also pushed Gen G to 5 games who beat T1, and then so it's like, where do we land in the whole scheme of things? It's kind of a bit up in the air. You
where do
really
we
want to talk about it?
Yeah, where do we land in this draft? Because everything is up for the AD carries, and these bottom lanes are the best bottom lanes that we have seen in a long time. The Senna gets through for T1. Guma gets Senna. This is insane.
Yeah, well, Decker and I just made some eye contact, and we're a bit perplexed about the lack of Senna priority.
Part of the reason why Senna is so insane for T1 is because of this, because of carry as champions, that he gets to play with it. The fed Tom Kench down here, the farming Kench. We're starting game number 1 of T1 versus BLG, which is absolute draft Armageddon here.
I actually kind of love it, though, from BLG. This is the one game where I think you're allowed to throw a bit of a wrench in, do a little bit of experimenting, see whether you can beat the Senna. Because after that, I think they have to just keep banning it, because this should be too hard.
It's also the lack of Lucianami that's surprising to me, because I thought that would be the higher priority here for BLG, but they really want to get this Renata, it feels like, for On. Has been a very, very strong pick for him. He's got a 71% win rate over the course of spring, but I do think this is where you're going to see if T1 are just able to manhandle off the back of what is one of the strongest picks for Guma, Yushi, and Kerry in that bottom lane.
Oh, I was actually really liking the Corki, something that we saw in the Gen G series just recently. The Callista Corki has been a really good bridge, and Faker's going to say, yeah, kind of like that idea as well. I'm just going to pick that one up myself.
So funny how LPL Corki has turned from meme into machine at MSI. Faker going to have the Corki this time around. I'm already, like, there's already a lot of really, really good scaling and long-range damage on T1. As we turn our sights towards the jungle here, both of these mid laners looking to ban away their opponent's AD junglers. Jarvan always kind of scary there, so they don't want the full combo. Xin Zhao, of course, going to be a priority as well.
I think Cassante as well. I think both of these top laners, 100% win rate so far, most played champion in the tournament. We've heard a bit of speak about good old Cassante so far, and I think it might deserve a bit of a look here.
Well, that's the thing. If you pick Cassante as Bin, you're just opening up for a TF or something along those lines. So it looks like, at least at the moment, BLG want to try and get rid of some of those picks, knowing that more than likely T1 are going to hold off on that counter pick for Zeus in that last rotation. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bane taken away here as well by BLG, setting up for that potential Cassante here for Bin.
We do know that the Zac is something that Zeus has really enjoyed as well. It was used in the playoffs quite a bit. He was sort of our guy in the LCK that did like playing it. The Wukong, though, going to be taken away from Shun, certainly something that he does love to play. So not going to be seeing it this time around. And in fact, sees a lot more bans than I would expect.
Definitely such a good team fighting jungler, wanting to take out that AoE damage for later. Let's see, are BLG also really worried about the Vayne from Zeus, or are they going to cover here? Because Cassante, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Poppy counter to the Cassante, but it doesn't seem like it's been super high priority for a lot of other teams.
I think the Poppy could just be a good lock-in just here. Then you can save that counter pick like you were talking about, Dacta, but instead, it is the priority pick on the Cassante, and at the moment in this tournament, it means win for these top laners, so you may as well pick it.
So there's two things that have had success versus Cassante, Poppy and Camille. Bin could play either of them.
What about Gwen?
But yeah, he definitely could play Gwen.
It could be Gwen, but Bin's solo queue name is also I Love Camille. So there's definitely a little bit more of an angle towards the Camille. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that locked in here if he so choosing. Could also just be the Vayne, which we did see him bring out before, but
cute.
Sejuani going to be taking... I actually like the Sejuani because I think other options, Maokai, which isn't really great for the position that you're in, but there it is. The Vayne going to be taken for Bin.
I hate the Sejuani so much that everyone is ranged. Everyone is... Where's your permafrost coming from? This is it's just not it.
Yourself.
It's also, if T1 lane swap, you're kind of in a bit of a pickle here as BLG, because we've already seen Bin, when he ends up in this lane swap scenario against PSG Talon, it did not look good for the Vayne. They didn't really know what to do with them. And if you're in a Cassante, you're going to be fine. Your Senna and Tam Kench, you're going to be fine to start doing what they want as well, even unlocking Guma Yushi early to start playing around the map. So this may not be standard lanes for T1.
Yeah, it's interesting how the Vayne in lane swaps, everybody has started doing the, 2v1 mid basically, where you try and zone off the enemy mid laner. I guess, you know, trying to keep Corki back a little bit would do that, but then you also soak experience from your mid laner and delay Talia's level 6, which is a little bit rough. So we'll see if they end up going for it.
Yeah, we've seen Gen G be somewhat successful with the Vayne lane swaps, but T1 haven't really been swapping very much at all so far this tournament. They do generally just really like standard lanes, but I think that if they're ever going to swap, it is in this game. This is the one where you want to avoid it as much as possible, and we'll see whether they do have that string to their bow in this matchup, because I think they might need it, especially being able to have that extra flexibility. But gentlemen, it is time to get into game number 1. Still in the upper bracket here, neither of these teams will be eliminated, but getting into the upper bracket final, absolutely massive